everyone, and welcome back to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm sharing with you 2 beautiful ornaments that you can make in your kitchen. Our Christmas season this year got off to a slow start. We had lots of sickness going around our family, which I know so many people have been dealing with this fall. But I am very grateful that my son Ben and I were able to head to our downtown light up night. So there were little horse-drawn wagon rides, there were these fire barrels where we could warm our hands, they had an alpaca farm represented, they were selling all kinds of cozy socks and gloves, and we got to pet an alpaca. And we got to drink some delicious hot chocolate and see the tree lit in front of our courthouse. So it was a fun little night out for Ben and me. I know many YouTubers have had their Christmas decorations up since the day after Halloween, but we just put our Christmas tree up a few days ago. Like I said, we've all been quite ill and just so busy, and we were finally able to put it up as a family. I like to let the kids decorate it. I really don't care where the ornaments go. We have so many that even if there's 8 on one branch, we're still able to fill the tree, which is great. So these are my kids helping out, and my son Andrew put the star on the top, and I also hung our garland on the banister. So this year I really wanted to go with kind of a colonial Christmas look. I love that with the fruits against the evergreens. So I'm going to make some orange slices to hang on my garland. And then I'm also going to make some peppermint candy ornaments for our tree. For my dried oranges, I sliced 4 navel oranges into the thinnest slices that I could using a serrated knife, but I wanted to make sure that they were complete circles and weren't broken on any of the edges. I patted the tops of the orange slices with a paper towel to soak up some of those juices, and then I put the drier side face down onto a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Then I took another paper towel and patted the tops of these again, just to get any of the excess moisture off.
So, my mom is baking oranges for our garden and for ornaments. So I have a joke about that.
Okay.
Why did you cook the oranges in the oven?
Why?
To get ornaments?
Ornaments! That's a good one, Ben. Thank you. My orange slices baked at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for about 3 hours, and I flipped them every half hour until they looked quite dry and had started turning slightly golden brown. Just keep your eye on them. It might take a little longer or shorter. You don't want them to burn, but they're not going to be this bright orange color when they're finished. They'll definitely have a variation to the coloring. Also, from what I've read online, if you have a convection setting on your oven, you probably won't need to flip these. I did remove a few of the slices after 2.5 hours because they were starting to get quite brown and I didn't want them to burn to a crisp. But the rest of my slices were slightly thicker, so they did need to go the full 3 hours. For my peppermint candy ornaments, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees and then lined a baking sheet with parchment paper. Then I grabbed the few metal cookie cutters that I own and sprayed them pretty liberally with baking spray. You definitely want to use metal cookie cutters because these are going into the oven with your candies, so you don't want the plastic ones to melt. And then I placed these on the baking sheet and filled them with whole peppermint candies. Then to fill in some of the little gaps, I crushed up some extra candies and sprinkled them in, particularly for the star. I wanted to make sure all the points were filled with candy. These baked at 350 degrees in my oven for about 7 minutes, but the recipe says anywhere from 3 to 9 minutes, so keep your eye on them. It's okay if you open the oven a little bit to peek or turn on the oven light. As soon as the candies have melted, they're good to go. Now the consistency of this is so crazy. It gets very liquidy, but as soon as you take it out of the oven, it starts to harden up again. So I would let them sit for maybe a minute or two so they're not totally liquid, and then I use the end of a bamboo skewer to make my little hole so I could thread a ribbon through for an ornament. But if you wait too long, it actually is almost too hard to cut through. Also, I had to use a knife to cut some of the excess off the edges. There was a little bit of seepage underneath the ornament, but that came off pretty easily when the candy was still soft. And then you just want to be very gentle as you're taking the ornaments out. They were quite greasy from the baking spray, but I really didn't want them to stick to the cookie cutters. So I just took a paper towel and wiped off any of the excess oil. I thought these came out beautifully. Just be careful with something like the star shape because the points are quite fragile. You just have to be very gentle as you're removing it from the cookie cutter. I'm ready to assemble my ornaments. So I bought some very thin white ribbon at Walmart. This was 50 cents for this roll. And then I also bought some floral wire. This was $1 at Walmart. And I thought this would be nice because it bends, so I can kind of wrap it around the garland if I need to, because I'm going to put the oranges on my garland, on my banister. So I figured I could take a slice of orange, and this is sharp enough where I can just sort of pierce it through. I think I want to do it kind of closer to where the skin is, but I could try it out in the center too. We'll have to see. It's also green, so it'll blend right in with the garland. So I liked that option. Just be careful handling these peppermint ornaments. Even though I wiped them off, they're still a little bit slick from that cooking spray. So just be careful because they are quite fragile. So I don't need too much because I'm just making ornaments for my tree. So the ribbon doesn't need to be too long. So I'm just gonna cut. And we'll thread this through the hole that I made. Maybe. There we go. And then I can just, let's see, tie it into a little knot. There we go, and now it's an ornament. How cute! Oh, I love that. Of course, you could do any kind of ribbon that you want. I just wanted to keep it simple and inexpensive. Ooh, I can't wait to put this on the tree. I have my orange slice, and I'm just going to take the end of the floral wire. Oh, yeah, it very easily pierces through just below the skin, through the flesh of the orange. But that way, you won't see the wire going across the ornament itself. Oh, so cool. Okay, so that can bend up, very flexible. I'm not 100% sure yet how I'm going to attach this, but now that I know that this works, attaching the wire to the orange, I can go play around with the garland and make it work. The floral wire worked out perfectly. I could actually cut each piece into thirds and use it for 3 different oranges. So it's going to go a long way as far as decorating goes. So I just threaded it through the top of the orange slice and pulled it halfway through, and then I placed it where I wanted it in my garland and twisted it a few times and then bent the ends down into the garland so they were hidden. But it couldn't have been any easier, and I think it looks beautiful. I love that natural look. I think that colonial Christmas look really lends itself well to our home. Our house was built in 1901 and it has all of this dark woodwork, so I think it just pairs so well with this beautiful garland. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can follow me over on Instagram at Anne's Family Recipe and give this video a thumbs up if you like the ornaments I shared with you here today. Thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon.